So I haven't got too much to share this month because we're still waiting on the drilling conditions and the temperature in order to drill all the different trials. So currently it's mid-March sort of time. We're still having a fairly decent amount of rain every day, and the temperature's still quite cool. So the soil temperature is going to be quite cold at the moment, so there's no point drilling anything yet. We may still have some frost soon, but the majority of the seed has arrived, and I'll just show you the rest of it now. So about 2/3 of the seed has arrived so far for all the trials work. Beans, oats and barley so far, still missing some peas, mustard, vetch and other varieties. We're getting there slowly. So here you can see the seed. On the left here, this is the oilseed rapeseed, spring oilseed rape. In the middle here, you've got the vetch, that's a legume. And on the right hand side, you have the white mustard. These are all quite relatively small seeds. So as all the seeds arrived, I thought I'd just talk you through the different varieties we've got and the different crop types are growing in each field. So as you can see here, this field on the left has got my 4 different mixes in it, and again on the right, my 4 different mixes. And as I said before, with the barley, the oats, the peas and the beans, they're not going to be one singular variety. They're going to be made up of these 3 varieties which are beneath them here. So I'll just walk you through those and why I've chosen them. But with the vetch, the mustard and the spring oilseed rape is only going to be one variety, just because they're quite niche crops and they're not really bred that specifically that like these cash crops are really. So there's a lot more choice with these. They're tested a lot better and have different disease resistance scores, for example. So I just thought I'd mention that the reason I am choosing 3 different varieties is because of the benefits to do with reduced fungicide control. So as I'm going to be 0 input on all of these sites, I don't have that fungicide control to be able to, for example, if the vetch gets infected, to be able to spray a fungicide on those and control any disease. So I'm using the characteristics and the increased diversity of these 3 different varieties to hopefully give me some resistance against any potential disease, meaning I don't have to use a fungicide. So if we just go to the spring beans, we have, so this is a descriptive list. It's not the same as the recommended list. It's produced by PGRO, and I've gone for these 3 varieties here. Lynx and Genghis, because they're very widely grown in the UK, especially Lynx is probably the most commonly grown spring bean in the UK. And I've tried to match the maturity fairly well. You can see this is a 6 and a 7. But you can see the 3rd variety I've chosen, LG Viper, that's a little bit away on the maturity side, so it's gone for a 5 here. But the reason I went for this variety here is because of its high disease resistance. You can see a 6 and a 7 for downy mildew and rust. So I thought it was worth bumping up these 4 and 5s, 7s and 4s to use this quite resistant variety here. So it is a little bit away from the maturity level, but we'll see how it goes. A bit too far. With the peas again, this is a descriptive list, but I've chosen these 3 varieties. Again, they're a little bit away. The blue thyme, we already grow these blue thyme peas anyway, so these will be home saved. So I've tried to match them up with Mika and Carrington. Carrington quite high yielding, and also, you can see here, decent disease resistance as well. So we're just trying to use the varieties to complement each other. So moving on to the spring oats. So we've got Merlin, Aspen and Conway. Merlin is what we already grow already, so these will be home saved. So I've tried to use varieties. You can see here, this is a -1 ripening, Aspen -1, and Conway is a -1. And I've just tried to, again, balance the disease resistance around. So Merlin's quite bad for crown rust, but Aspen and Conway are a little bit better, for example. Whereas mildew is quite good on Merlin with an 8, but Aspen is quite lower at a 4. Moving on to spring barley, and this is a difficult one because these are all malting varieties. I primarily chose this because I wanted to go for Laureate because it's quite not a diverse variety, but it can be used for lots of different end uses. So I had a look what it could be used for, and it had malting approval for malt distilling use here with the F. So I looked at 2 other varieties that were fairly close, LG Diablo and KWS Sassy. And if you see here, they're relatively close on the ripening days, and that should make life a little bit easier when it comes to harvest. Again, with the disease resistance, they're all pretty good against mildew, average against brown rust, but there's only 1/6 score here, and Rictosporium are fairly good. But one concern I do have with the malt distilling use is whether they have any cracked peas within the sample, so when I'm growing the barley and peas together. If I go up here, so peas and barley, this big chunk around the outside on the headland. If I'm growing those together and we get lots of cracked peas, it'll be difficult to separate those halved peas from the barley, so I may have to go as feed. That might be something I'll look at in the future.